If you've got anxiety that just will not quit, it just will not leave you alone, and you have tried every single relaxation and stress relieving technique that you know about, but nothing is working, this video is for you. So something that is really not well understood about anxiety is that it's a secondary emotion. What on earth does that mean? Let's take a step back, okay? When something happens out in the world or in our minds, or something that we perceive to be happening, or something in our bodies, we often have an emotional response to it. Emotions are messages from your body and your brain that you have a need that needs to be met, okay? It could be something you want more of. It could be something you want less of. It could be something that needs to change. It could be something you're avoiding. It could be something that you need to get away from. It's just a signal that says, I have a need and it's not being met. Or I have a need that's being met and I want it to be met more. There's huge debate and disagreement in the kind of psychology sector, neuroscience sector, about what the range of emotions are and what the core emotions would be. But let's just stick to the simple 5 for now, okay? Which is fear, anger, sadness, joy, and surprise, right? Those emotions all have a different kind of message and they all mean something slightly different. So anger is the emotion that tells you that something needs to change, right? That something isn't okay, a boundary is being crossed, a value has been disrespected, an injustice has been caused, something needs to change. And it gives you the energy for that change. That's why anger is such an energizing emotion. Sadness is an emotion that tells you that you've lost something, that you're hurting, and that you actually need some time to withdraw, to heal, and maybe to actually reconnect with other people in your life. Fear is an emotion that tells you that there's a danger, there's a threat, and you need to get away from it. Joy is an emotion that actually tells you there's something really good going on, and I want more of that thing. Can we please have more of that thing? And surprise is to alert your attention in a good or a bad way that something is happening. So where does anxiety come into this? So anxiety is a secondary emotion, as I said before. That means that it's a response to one of those emotions. So when we don't allow ourselves to feel one of those emotions, we might instead feel a secondary emotion. And for lots of us, that might be anxiety. Anxiety is a signal that there's something we're not paying attention to, that there's some kind of danger or threat. It's very unclear, it's very uncertain, and it kind of gives us this sense of general dread, right? It's often because there's a need that we have that we're ignoring, and that need is being communicated to us by one of our primary emotions. But for some reason, we are not letting ourselves feel that primary emotion. So why don't we let ourselves feel primary emotions? Why don't we let ourselves feel angry, sad, scared, joyful? There are so many reasons. It could be because those feelings are uncomfortable and we just don't like feeling them. So we just try and ignore them or suppress them. It could be because when we grew up, it wasn't okay to express that particular emotion in our household or in our school or in our community. It could be to do with our social conditioning. So, for example, in general, women find it very difficult to express anger because they've been taught that being a good girl and a good woman is someone who doesn't get angry. And men in general find it more difficult to express being sad because it's seen societally as a form of weakness. This is incredibly damaging. And for all of those reasons and more, we might just avoid feeling an emotion. And therefore, it's almost like your body and brain are saying, I've given you a signal, I've told you that I have a need, and you're ignoring me. So now I'm going to bring out the big guns and draw your attention to it even more. And what we do is we then fixate on the anxiety. Oh my goodness, I'm anxious. What's wrong? What's wrong? And we're running around and we're looking out here for all the reasons that our anxiety is happening. We are focusing our attention on the environment. what can I do? What can I change? And we're not focusing on the core issue, which is that we have a need and we've had an emotional response to tell us about that need, and we've ignored that emotional response. So actually, when you cannot seem to shake off your anxiety, one of the best things you can do is to think about what could be the underlying need that I have, or the underlying emotion that I have, that my anxiety is covering up. We're kind of like looking under the hood a bit of the anxiety. And that can be really, really hard to identify, and it can take work and it can take time. But if you start doing this, you can start to realize, actually, there's other stuff I'm avoiding feeling. I'm avoiding feeling angry because I don't feel like I have a right to be angry in this situation. I'm avoiding feeling sad because feeling sad and being in grief is so painful and so draining and flattening that I just cannot face it. Or I'm scared that if I let myself be sad, I will never stop crying. Or maybe we feel anxious when we're joyful because we're waiting for the other shoe to drop. I don't want to feel joy. It's an unsafe place to feel joy. I'm not used to this feeling. What if I lose it? What if I'm too happy? What if it's not okay for me to be happy when other people are sad? All these kinds of things are going on, and they're stopping us from just feeling that feeling. So, yeah, really looking at, what do I think my anxiety might be covering up? And sometimes it's as simple as like a physiological need, like I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I need to sleep, I need less time on a screen, I need company, I need friendship, I need to reach out to someone. But sometimes it's more complicated and there's like a deeper emotion there that needs to be processed. So a really, really good and easy question to ask in those situations is to say, if I wasn't feeling anxious right now, what else could I be feeling? And just sit with that. If you're feeling anxious around a certain person, ask yourself, if I wasn't feeling anxious right now, what might I be feeling about this person or towards this person? And actually give yourself permission to have that feeling. Don't justify it. You might be angry with someone, even though you don't think they've really done anything wrong, but you just feel angry. You're allowed to feel angry. All that is your body saying to you, I have a need, that I don't like this situation and I want something to change. It doesn't necessarily mean the other person's done something wrong. And feeling your feelings and allowing your feelings is very different from expressing them in a way that could hurt or upset someone else. So you can admit to yourself and you can allow and give yourself permission to feel angry about someone's actions or about a certain situation, even if that feels like it's not really their fault. Because all it's saying is, I have a need for something to change. And then you can figure out, is there a way in which I can explain this to the other person that can create the change that I need? Or is there something in myself that I need to change so that I can be in this situation? Each of these emotions is complex, and I could do a deep dive into each of them, and I will, but not in this video. But the key starting point is just to say, what might be under the anxiety, what might be under the hood, and actually look there. And if you then allow that other emotion to be there, you are much more likely to notice a shift and a release in your anxiety than trying to fight it or trying to relax it away. Relaxation techniques are really powerful for physical feelings of anxiety, and they can really help you get from a state where you are extremely anxious and stressed into a calmer state where you can look at things more objectively. So don't throw them out the window, use them, but then when the anxiety is still hanging around and when you feel more able to handle it because you're at a lower level of anxiety, you're feeling a bit calmer, that's the time to start to ask those questions. What's really going on here? Let me know how this works for you. Leave comments below and share your experiences with me. I'm always excited to hear more.